All right, for my best practice, I chose to do the Marzano homework and practice, and my name is Mitchell Golden. So basically, what is Marzano's homework and practice? So the first point I found was that content must be taught before homework or practice is given. So that's pretty self-explanatory, but this happens more often than we anticipate. We plan to give a homework assignment, but excuse me, but something unforeseen happened during our class time, and we did not get to all of our content that we had anticipated. So but we continue to hand out the homework we had previously assigned. So a couple of other things that I found was homework and practice are given to deepen the student's understanding and extend learning opportunities beyond the confines of the school day. So basically, you want to take advantage of all the time you have. So we know the school day can become very short. So we want to take every opportunity to continue to give the students the content and knowledge they need to be successful in the classroom and in real life. This is just a brief little paragraph that I found and I thought was very interesting. So the amount of homework a student receives depends on the grade level of the student. So Dr. Marzano believes that homework at the early elementary level, grades K through 3, should be helping the students practice their skills of studying and not expanding their knowledge necessarily on the content. So after that, it's pretty much fair game. So over here we have a chart that shows the percentile gain from using Marzano's homework and best practice and how that deems to be successful in the classroom with your students. So Dr. Marzano recommends that students receive a certain amount of homework each night. So if a student is in 7th grade, they should receive 70 minutes of homework total. So that does not mean 70 minutes of homework for each area of content. That means 70 minutes of homework total. So your target audience is going to be, as you can see, talked about up here, it's going to be receivable for all grades. But according to Tracy Ocaso, students who receive special education services will be more successful using this strategy if the homework has been given aligns with the content knowledge and they continue to get the aids and services they need to be successful. So that comes from the Supplementary Aids and Services, the SAS. So we want to make sure that we are continuing to provide those aids and services even outside the classroom. So down at the bottom, I'll show you a couple examples of how you can use that. And this also varies depending on the individual student. So that's why I didn't put any examples right here, is because this depends on each student. So we know that each student with disabilities is not defined by their disabilities. So every IEP for a student with autism is not going to look or be the same. So for students with disabilities and just for students in all around, the student must be first taught the content before homework can be assigned, because then there's no purpose being served. So for a student with disabilities, they are not going to take the opportunity to try to learn the content by themselves. They are going to just almost give up. So that's not for every student, but we also know that they are not really going to take the initiative to try to learn if they have not been already taught it. And pretty much no student's going to do that. So the 3 modifications I have for students with disabilities. So for a student who has autism, giving students homework and practice that requires a more visual approach, so giving pictures and handouts with pictures on them, is going to be deemed more successful for that student than would be just your basic handout or worksheet or different things like that. For students with traumatic brain injury, writing their homework down in their planner and signing it, and setting up a contract with the guardian of the child to sign it before they come to school to ensure they saw the work that was due. So this is where really you can see the SAS, or the Supplementary Aids and Services, coming into play, is with specific learning disabilities. So for a student with a specific learning disability in the area of reading comprehension, there's a couple things you can do. Using a recorded book with appropriate pacing is an excellent way, but also you want to make sure that the student has the technology available to them, and if not, you can burn that onto a CD and then send home a CD player with that student. I know that's kind of old-fashioned, but that'd be a great way for a student to read an article or hear an article and then take some notes or write some different things down. Also, if you didn't want to do that, you could also give the student the article, but have already highlighted the important and main points that you're going to be asking in class the next day, on the homework for that night, different things. There's always advantage you can take. You don't have to rely on technology as a crutch. And then right here, if technology was available at home, Type and Speak is a great resource for students to use. So we want to make sure that, of course, technology is available for this because this is an app on a computer. But this app would allow the students would read the notes back to the student and allow them to hear what they wrote, so they can see if it is comprehensible and understandable. And then the procedures. There's 9 steps to procedures. Number 1, understand the different types of homework and when to use them in your teaching, so you don't want to get repetitive and just continue to use the same type of homework over and over and over again, because that's going to make your class very boring. Number 2, assign the right amount of homework in comparison to the lesson, so that homework is more focused on the learning experience. So I feel like number 2 and number 3 kind of align really well together, so I'm going to go ahead and read that. Assign the right level and amount of homework. So basically, you want to make sure that you're giving the students the correct grade level, the correct homework that they've already been taught, and the content knowledge. You want to make sure that they are not receiving a very small amount of homework, but they're also not receiving a 120 minutes worth of homework or 2 hours worth of homework. So number 3 says also keep in mind your students with disabilities and the accommodations they need to be successful. So again, what are their aids and services and what do they need to be successful in that? Number 4, recognize that every student is different and learns differently, and embrace the different practices and ways that students learn. We all know this. We all know that every student is different and nobody learns the same. So trying to prepare homework assignments that use all 5, or that can use all 5 of the learning strategies or the way people learn is a great way to get everyone involved, so that they're learning efficiently. Number 5, provide clear homework expectations at the school level. Not each individual teacher needs their own set of expectations, because that causes confusion for the students and parents. So you want to make sure that you get together with your principals, administrators, your teachers, your team of teachers, and you're setting a clear expectations for homework. When's homework going to be due? What are you expecting in the homework? Different things like that, so that everyone is on the same page. Number 6 says ask parents to facilitate homework not completed. So especially at the middle school and high school level, the parents' participation should be minimal. But you also want to keep in mind individual situations where doing homework is not possible to be completed at home. So an example that I heard today from Mrs. Clark was that a set of parents that she had did not get past the 8th grade in school. So when they would come home, or when she would come home, when their student would come home with coloring books or crayons or different stuff, that her parents would take those and use those as their personal use, and she would never get those back. So we want to make sure that we are giving homework and taking advantage of that, but also not doing that so it hinders the child's ability to learn. Number 7, pretty straightforward. Homework should have a clear purpose. You don't want to just give busy work to your students. You want to make sure that it is serving them in the long run, in the short run. It's helping them study for their exams or formative assessments, different things like that. Number 8, homework should be given back in a timely fashion so students can see their work and correct it in time. We all have those professors or teachers that give homework assignments back 4 weeks late, 5 weeks late, or just never give them back. So we don't want to be those students or those teachers. We want to make sure that we are giving our homework assignments back so that our students can take those and learn from those. Also, we want to make sure that students should see where the teacher is trying to correct mistakes. So if a student just totally bombs an assignment, we will make sure that we are helping them and guiding them through that process, whether that's on the paper or they're having individual meetings with you. However that happens, we will make sure that they are being successful in that. Number 9, last but not least, helping students organize their homework. So we all know how much we rely on our planners in college. So getting that started early will help the students greatly in their success. These are some resources that I've used and that I've used throughout this piece. So I would definitely recommend checking these out. It's great. So especially this last one right here, The Art and Science of Teaching by Robert Marzano. This is basically shows all of his strategies. It's a great resource to use if you're looking to use the Marzano Richter scale model in your teaching. So right here, this is just something I found on the Marzano website. So this is kind of their focus area, or the main things they try to do overall, and this is basically the model for that. So supports a shift in pedagogy, unifies school culture, and provides formative feedback. So we make sure that if we're going to use these strategies, this is basically the main things that we're going to be using in that. So, and then down here, I found a homework expectation sheet. So it shows the students exactly what you're looking for. It's kind of almost like a rubric in itself too. So there are clear-cut rules. They're reading all the directions carefully. This is just a great handout. It shows you when the homework assignments due, and it also can be shown to the parent so that they know the expectations for this homework assignment. And then down here I have my formative questions. So if you all have any questions, just please contact me. So thank you.